Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metal Gear Solid. It's the first time we've actually reviewed one of these suckers, and this should be interesting to say the least. Not actually 100% sure where to start with this one. I don't have a huge amount of history with this franchise in the strictest sense of the word. Mostly because I don't even get into the franchise until, well, Metal Gear Solid 3. Because a friend of mine lent me his copy of Metal Gear Solid 3, and I played it and actually enjoyed it. Then I kind of went back and tried out 1 and 2 as a consequence thereof. Didn't like them as much because I played 3 first, but what can you do? I had actually played Metal Gear, all the way back in the NES era, but I mean I played practically every NES game, so that doesn't really mean anything. I'd never owned it and it never stuck with me. But what's interesting to me really is how much this game actually has a substantial influence on gaming and on an entire genre. I did a double check because I thought Thief actually predated this game, but it doesn't. Thief came out after Metal Gear Solid. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to point all the way back to Metal Gear Solid as the game that really did popularize the stealth 'em up. And shrug. It is worth noting, though. I'd say one of the smaller reasons why Metal Gear Solid, which is a stealth game, of course, got some of the popularity it did, was specifically because of the fact that non-combating your way through the game was something that was an option. Kind of, and I stress that kind of. For those of you not aware, the original version of Metal Gear Solid, which we will be playing, it's actually not possible to do a full non-lethal playthrough because it hadn't really occurred to them yet. It is possible to do a nearly non-lethal playthrough. They would later go and backport that into the remake that came out of the GameCube, and future Metal Gear Solid games would have a truly non-lethal option as something that you could have going forwards. But either way, it's something that caught some attention. But let's be honest with ourselves. Metal Gear Solid has the exact same advantages that Final Fantasy VII does, and for the exact same reasons. Remember, there were 3-ish, depending how you define it, games prior to Metal Gear Solid in the franchise. 2 of which most people have never even heard of, one of which has never come out in Europe, even now. But they weren't super popular and they didn't do super well. Then there's the PlayStation. And the PlayStation was the PlayStation. I've actually talked about this many times because it's come up for many different games we've covered. And that is that the PlayStation was what really exploded gaming into popular culture. There are plenty of people who were gamers prior to this game. There are plenty of people who were interested into video gaming prior to, the PlayStation era. But the PlayStation era pushed gaming into people who otherwise would not be considered that niche market, and video games stopped being a niche market. So here we are. This game got exploded in popularity and happened to be really, 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 really popular. And it is understandable why. By the way, I should probably mention that even though this game only sold 7 million copies, which puts it at merely the 10th best-selling PlayStation 1 game of all time, that's still really, really impressive. Just thought I'd share that. Metal Gear Solid became iconic, especially with the PlayStation brand, which is one of the reasons why, alongside Tomb Raider, Tekken, Gran Turismo, and of course, Final Fantasy. Ah. Real quick, thank you, Potato. I do always appreciate those subs, and I'll put that towards Dealer's Choice. I don't know it up. As a reminder, feel free to make a guess on the Golden Guessing game to see what we think of things and where you think this one's going to lie. It should be editable. I'm 90% certain it's editable. And that's because it is. So you're good on that one. Give me 1 second. Pote 80. There we go. Now, I could talk more about the history of this game, but honestly, I feel like I've covered all that in the rumination already. Consequently, there will not be a rumination in this game. Yes, Crash is another one. Crash Bandicoot. Sorry, I got interrupted by the sub. I apologize. There's Crash Bandicoot, Tomb Raider, Gran Turismo, Tekken, Final Fantasy, and Metal Gear Solid were the big ones. And all of them did a whole lot of stuff. Moved a whole lot of units, got a whole lot of people interested in gaming. But again, and I hate to rehash this, whether or not Metal Gear Solid is a stealth game or not is not actually relevant, because it is perceived and portrayed as a stealth game. It is a game in which avoiding the enemies is something that's not only encouraged, but desired throughout several sections of the actual gameplay. Now you're probably thinking, what's the relevance of that? Try to remember that at this point in time, a lot of the people who are jumping into gaming had never played games before. And thus, put yourself into the mindset of someone who is like what Mortal just said, honestly, in chat. You know, I hate to say this because it sounds like an insult, but I don't mean it as one. Put yourself in the mindset of someone who is ignorant of video gaming, of what video gaming can offer and what video gaming has as a concept. And then all of a sudden you play this game, and it's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen something like this. This is such a new thing to me. Oh my goodness. Right? Like, you can understand why this game, despite its many, many flaws, would get its hooks into so many people. Now, I have absolutely no idea how this game is going to review, to be completely honest with you. As I have already stated, I'm not a big fan of Metal Gear Solid 1 or 2, and I'm not super into 4. 3 is the one that I actually enjoyed, and the PlayStation, PSP ones can just go be over there. But, like it or not, in fact, actually, let me double check this. Just give me 1 second, because I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, but give me just a second here. Yep, no, I'm right. So, Thief 1 certainly sold well, right? Thief 1 is arguably the first actual stealth 'em up game. Thief 1 sold about 500,000 copies. That's really good. Metal Gear Solid sold 7 million. Now, I'm not saying that to say that Thief 1 is better or worse than Metal Gear Solid. What I'm saying is to re-emphasize the significance of Metal Gear Solid and its impact on the industry. Because moving that many units is exactly why this got attention from other developers and other publishers and got other stealth 'em ups made. Like it or not. All right. Now, we were going to play the GOG version. We're not going to play the GOG version. By the way, thank you, Yana Gray. Very, very much, as always. If you know what you want to put that towards, please let me know. Thank you. And yes, Plutonia is just repeating me at this point. The PlayStation 1 is when gaming exploded. I feel like I started this sentence with that. What's a golden number guess? Well, you guess what the golden number of the game will be. You go over to the document, and you write down, your name next to one of the slots, the empty slots, and you say, I think the golden number will be blah. And then you guess. And whoever wins gets to put some interest towards a game of their choice. But yeah, we were going to play this on GOG. There were 2 issues with the GOG version. One was I was having trouble getting it streamable at all. That's kind of an issue. But the other issue I was having was configuring the controller, which was possible, but extremely irritating. And I decided, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to play the PlayStation 1 version. just going to pull the plug and say screw it. Not even going to mess with it. So we'll be playing the PlayStation 1 version. Shrug. 1 moment, please. I have something on my glasses, which really bothers me. I should probably mention something. From everything I've read and interviewed, and I have actually done a bit of a deep dive on this series. So we've talked so much about backloaded storytelling versus front-loaded storytelling. So the difference between these 2 things is kind of significant, but both can be good if done properly. Front-loaded storytelling is when you have things planned out in advance. Now, obviously, that can make for a more cohesive work. It is more work for the writer, but it can make for a more cohesive franchise. It can make things fit better. You can do foreshadowing, all sorts of fun stuff like that. Backloaded effectively means you are improving a little bit, trying to look back at what you've already done and say, okay, well, we did this here, so why don't we explain that, kind of a thing. Backloaded still has its place and purpose, and a proper writer will actually go back through their work and see what kind of bricks they laid and try to do something with it. It's also worth knowing these are not absolutes. You can do you can lay out some stuff for front loaded and then leave some things open for back loaded and just kind of mix and match as you go. I think that game is not there, Yana Gray. Hang on a second. Let me double check. Anyways, the point being the Metal Gear Solid series is very much backloaded, is what I'm trying to say. That is super backloaded. 1 moment. Give me another moment. Give me 15 moments. Give me a second. J.K. Rowling was absolutely backloaded. There's very very little of her stuff that she planned out in advance. Jagged Alliance. Oh, yep, Jagged Alliance is still there. Still on the list. So I'll put that towards Jagged Alliance too. Got it. And thank you, Nikki the Cool, as always. If you know which game you'd like to put that towards, please let me know. Speaking of which, I do want to say shoutouts and thank you to the Count35, Big Hawson, Creator XZ1335, Michael Norman, Tyler 2022, Loner 665, Zillersg, Lord of Mordor 007, Daedalus 59, Maxtime 2010, Valvedrix, Catalan, Cormendi, and of course our majority shareholder Mike 12192. Thank you all of you for your support in making this run happen. Okay, and I will put that towards dealer's choice. Thank you, Nikki the Cool, very, very much. Let's go ahead and cover Metal Gear Solid. Hopefully this will work. If it doesn't, well, whatever. I've got options. That's disc 2. Hang on. Why is that like that? Hang on. So what are the VR missions? And also we're covering Metal Gear Solid 1, as in the one on the PlayStation 1. So if it's not on the PlayStation 1, well, guess what we're not covering? That should work now. Maybe. I don't know what briefing is. Well, I don't know what that is, Yana Gray. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just gonna sit and watch for a minute. Do I have sound? Very possible.
The nuclear weapons disposal facility on Shadow Moses Island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago was attacked and captured by Next Generation Special Forces, being led by members of Foxhound. They're demanding that the government turn over the remains of Big Boss. And they say that if their demands are not met within 24 hours, they'll launch a nuclear weapon. You'll have two mission objectives. First, you're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson, and the president of Armstech, Kenneth Baker. Both are being held as hostages. Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to make a nuclear strike. Stop them if they do.
What's the insertion method?
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV. After the
Jesus Christ, do you guys not understand that I have an indicator of when I'm muted? God damn, people.
High-Tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound. Your former unit, and one that I was a commander of.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mattis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful, and deadly sharpshooter.
Yeah, I see what you mean with that. Well... Alright, that's cool. I'm cool. One moment, please. Of course I'd have issues with this game of all games. Yeah, I hope you like exposition being dumped on your mouth. Or down your mouth. Wow, that's the... Okay, wow. Oh, wow, that's terrible. Okay. Option 3 it is. Have some music. I'm gonna be a minute.